Hello. And no, G Gundam is not a magical girl anime. It's 0 out of 10. Bad bait. Try better. Try to be convincing. Try to find something that I actually despise, Butter, and then see if you can argue it. Like, no, it's not magical girl. The lead, Butter. It's not. Like that's seriously terrible bait, dude. It's fucking terrible, man. I'm sorry. Like you. All right. I'm gonna give you some advice as somebody who has been trolling the fuck out of people for close to 2 decades now. You have to find arguments that make sense. Yeah, like seriously, if you want to troll somebody, if you really want to piss them off, you have to find an argument that actually makes sense. I will give you a really good example of it. Yeah, you're still twisting it too much. It's too broad. It's too fucking broad, man. Let me show you how to do this. Let me show you how to do this. I'm going to show you a video. See if I can find it. God, what is the name of it? There was a guy who used to hang out with the super best friends. He did a video essay about Naruto, how it was hypocritical. Yeah, right here.
I don't know much about Naruto.
This is what you need to study. Is this right here? And thank you, Columbia, for $2. Says, oh, we wouldn't be on the time. We'll get to that in a second. But no, what you need to do, you look up this video. It's called Naruto, the Self-Made Hypocrite by Plague of Gripes. I've not watched a lot of his other stuff. Like I said, I don't watch a lot of anime video essays. This one right here is top tier fucking troll bait. It's fucking top tier. And the reason why it's top tier, it's actually a good argument. It's not a blatant troll. Those are the best ones. Those are the ones that piss people off. Because there's actually a level of truth to it. Like, here's another example. I could do a video tomorrow called Gundam Seed is about NTR, or more about NTR than it is Micah. And what I could do is I could talk about how the most notable relationship between two characters in the original Gundam Seed is literally an NTR relationship. Because it is. And the reason that it would be so funny and the reason it would be effective is because there's a kernel of truth to it. Now, is that really what Gundam Seed is about? Fuck no. It really isn't. It is about a war. It's a shitty story about a war, but it is a story about a war. But it works because there's that little kernel of truth to it. And you don't have to be like broad with it. You do the Gundam NTR. You guys really want me to do that? You guys really want me to do a Gundam Seed is about NTR? I might do it. I might do it. I might just do it. But no, Plague does a really good job in this video about effectively talking about how he thinks that here, I'm gonna turn on my other light here. How he thinks that Naruto does have a narrative problem, because in all honesty it does. But at the same time, the one thing that I talked to a Naruto fan about this is he said it's kind of like taking steroids. Ronnie Coleman was obviously on steroids, but to look the way that Ronnie Coleman did took a lot of work. The steroids just helped. You know? That's effectively what, like, the Naruto thing. Naruto, as a character, is on steroids. That's what the Fox is. He is on steroids. But he still has to work like a motherfucker to get to the level he gets to. But he definitely has an advantage. So the narrative does kind of defeat it, but he still has to work hard. You still see him work hard. So, but it's that little kernel of truth that fucks with people, because there are people that treat certain fictions like the greatest thing ever, and you know, this sort of thing really really fucks with them. So yeah, if you want to really troll people, you go with that. You find what that little kernel of truth is, you over exaggerate it, and you make jokes about it. Completely deadpan. It will drive people insane. Because I want you guys to understand, like, when I got death threats about the Seed reviews that I did, I was laughing. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Because I wasn't even, like, paying attention to Twitter. It was Shirt Dude who did. And he showed me, he's like, dude, these people are wishing death on you for this. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. That's hilarious. So, because it's an anime. It's a television show or a movie, you know? It's not that big of a deal. You know, it's... Like, one thing that I'm going to actually, like... I'll be giggling about some of the fan theories that I'll be debunking in that video about, like, Gundam Urban Legends. Because there is, like... They are funny. I won't lie. Like, the memes around them... Like the fact that Gundam is carried by Fujoshis, that's pretty fucking funny. Like, the idea that, like, a bunch of the fan base really wants Char and Amuro to fuck. It's like, Jesus, okay. I don't think that's the case, but yeah. It's just one of those things where that's the way you troll people. You gotta find that kernel of truth. If you go too insane with it, you know, people are just like, it's weak. It's weak bait. You got the full armor Unicorn Verka, and he needs a friend. I would get the Banshee Verka. That's a good accompaniment piece. I have the Banshee Norn behind me. I haven't touched it yet because I want to put LEDs in it. So, just got done watching the Crosshands video. Very good. Thank you very much, Cordell Stevens. So. But yeah, I have messed with a lot of people over the years. It is a lot of fun. But anyway. So, that's not what we're here for though, right? We're here for the GQuuuuuux. A couple of things before we get started. One, I do apologize if I'm a little low energy today. I am pretty tired. My sleep schedule got fucked up again because I had a really, really bad headache. And on top of that, another thing happened is, there's a mouse in my apartment. So that's great. I just got started Birdhouse. You didn't miss anything. But yeah, there's a mouse in my apartment. And I'm like, well, shit. So that sucks. But I ordered some mouse traps, so we'll get him out of here. I tried to chase him out, but I lost track of him. I'm just praying that he doesn't, like, chew on any of my cables or anything like that. But yeah. Tie between the Verka or the regular. The Verka Banshee is kind of like a plain Jane version of the one that Riddy pilots, whereas the normal Banshee Master Grade is the loadout that Marita pilots. But yeah, so what I had to do is I had to actually take cayenne pepper and put it along like the ring of the wall of certain spots where I didn't want it, where I was definitely did not want him to go. So glue or spring mousetrap. Spring, it's a lot faster. It just kills them like that, assuming it hits them properly. I always thought that the glue mousetraps were kind of cruel. They like sit in there and starve to death, basically. So yeah. Let's go ahead and get into the discussion today. Actually, wait, no. One last thing. I gotta add a razor wire and fuse the mousetrap. No, just peanut butter. Peanut butter is excellent at catching them. But anyway, the one thing that I also want to talk about, I talked about this a while ago. We don't mention it again. Sure, dude. Like, what we're starting to do is push a bit more on memberships, because Shirt Dude and I actually do want to do a podcast together, a lore-based one, where we talk about different sci-fi franchises that we're really familiar with, break them down, so on and so forth, and effectively what we need to do is we need to go a little over double the amount of memberships we have now, which I know is a hell of a push, but on the flip side, I admittedly have not pushed for... I've never pushed Patreon very hard. I've never pushed anything like that very hard, but I'm just at a point where it's like, I might as well, because it would give me the chance to, do more effectively. Pip, but we're about to go into Gundam discussion, so we'll do like other questions and stuff later. So, and yeah, how is GQuuuuuux pronounced? It's just that's Quux. Though we don't really know what Quux means. It's apparently a placeholder. My theory is it means Cubile, but that's my theory. But anyway, let's get into the episode itself, because that's what everybody's here for, right? So, this episode, this is the very first one where we are out of the colonies, and we're going to Earth, and honestly, I was, would I ever do a seed lore video? If people paid me for it. I will tell you, like, I'll go more in detail about like what I want to do with the podcast a little bit later. But wait, the GQuuuuuux doesn't have bits? True, but it does have a SciComm unit. It could probably be compatible with them. But let's talk about what happens in it. So it starts off with we actually start off seeing the GQuuuuuux entering the atmosphere. And the one thing that I thought was kind of funny is that the quack has like arms that come out into the cockpit to hold you in place during turbulence. I don't know why, I just thought that was funny. And the start of the episode, it kind of flashes between two spots. On Earth and then in space, and then the day before, basically. So effectively, how the timeline plays out is this: as we saw with the last episode, Machu, or 2 episodes ago, Machu was stuck on the green base, as we're going to call it, and she was under she was being detained by Shalia Bull and his crew. And in this one, we see him interrogate her. Effectively, what they are looking for is something that they're calling the Rose of Sharon, which is a biblical reference to. And to be honest, the more I think of Rose of Sharon, now it makes more sense of who it is. And it is, I'll say it right now, it is exactly who I predicted it was last week. So, but we'll get to that the first people who missed the last week. So effectively what's going on is Shalia Bull is kind of like asking probing questions about what's going on, and then Machu does let it slip that it is on Earth, and that's where she's headed. So they basically just let her take the Quux and go to Earth. They just follow her because they know that she's gonna lead them right to whatever this Rose of Sharon is. So a mystery person is texting her, and we don't know who. And I will spoil right now, this episode does not tell you who. So it could be anybody. But what ends up happening is Machu gets a text from this mystery person and then gets out of her cell. But since Shalia is watching the texts, he knows what's up. He lets her go. And then Machu crash lands on Earth. The core fighter, which the backpack of the GQuuuuuux is actually a core fighter. But the core fighter ejects one direction, the body of the GQuuuuuux goes another. And she wakes up in a house, and it's actually a brothel. Because for those who don't know, because we meet Lala soon. This timeline's version of Lala soon. For those who do not know, Lala Soon in the original timeline was a prostitute in India that was found by Shar, and he could tell she was a new type, so he brought her to the Flanagan Institute instead, and then, it all goes from there, right? So, this effectively, we see Lala Soon if Lala Soon never met Shar Aznable. She's still a prostitute. And she's still in India. That's where they're at with this. And so yeah, that was kind of surprising. I was not expecting that. I'm like, oh, they're going deep with the lore on Lala Soon's background, because in the original show they never actually mention what her origin is. Hello, Big Micah from Japan. Konnichiwa. But sorry, my Nihongo sucks. I'm still learning it, or else I would actually speak a little bit more Japanese. But because like the only other thing I can really say like off the top of my head is Omae wamo Micah desu. My name is Micah. That's all I got. That's all I got. And then I can look at you really curious and ask where the convenience store is. Konbini? So that's all I got. But I'll learn more. I'm excited to learn more. I want to visit Japan someday. Sadly, I have missed out on getting to see the big Gundam in Yokohama, but one of these days. One thing that is kind of cool though, I did admittedly enable auto dubbing to try it out on my channel to see if the Japanese is good, because I figured that my Gundam videos would probably be really interesting to people over there. I don't know if they're gonna get if people in Japan are gonna get my sense of humor though. We'll see what happens. But regardless, so basically what happens is we're at the brothel, and Machu is meant to go meet with Lala soon, and they meet, they talk, they talk like new types do, through new typing things that we've seen before. And effectively what we get from Lala here is that she's seeing visions of the original timeline's Lala soon, and she recounts things from the 1 Year War, specifically how Shar found her and everything like that, but also some stuff that I'm pretty sure is from Shar's counterattack. So yeah, they talked in the Kira Kira, as they call it. So as it stands, she is effectively seeing visions of the original Lala soon, at least the original that we are familiar with, right? Because she also references a white Gundam, which in this universe the Gundam has always been red to most people's knowledge. Like the only time it was white was for like a day in this timeline, like a day or two, and then it immediately got carted off to the Flanagan Institute, got upgraded, and got fucking painted red. Or pink, really. But anyway, the point that we're at after that is basically that the other girls that are at this brothel want to get Lala out of there. They don't want her to be there anymore. She doesn't belong there, etc., etc. And sadly, it doesn't. I don't know why they call it Kira Kira, because they can just translate it to sparkling or shining. I think, to be honest with you, Kaishram, is that honestly, Kira Kira, it sounds unique compared to just using the word shining or sparkling in English. Calling it The Shining might also cause copyright issues with Stephen King. But yeah, sparkling is just, it's a very, I hate to say it, it doesn't sound exotic enough. And that sounds very, very weird. But that's just kind of it. You know, it's from a different culture. And because it's from a different culture, it sounds cooler to the American ear. It's just the way we are. It's, you know, it's part of the reason why a lot of Americans will know phrases from several different languages. And we will prefer to say certain phrases rather than, like, the actual translation. For example, like faux pas. You know, which means false step in French. Nobody ever says false step. You can say like misstep or something like that. But faux pas sounds better. You know, I'm guilty of it a lot. I'll throw out French phrases, Italian phrases, Spanish, stuff like that. I remember actually, I caught myself doing it yesterday when I got a grocery delivery from Walmart. Is saying to someone whenever they we were just in the conversation, just instead of saying good, I went bene, bene. It's Italian. I don't know why I slipped into Italian. I'm not Italian. I'm a Scottish Jew. You know? But it's just one of those things where it just sounds cool. You know? And it's also one of those things why, even in other languages, it's why I prefer, like, whenever I introduce myself in Japanese, why omae wa mo Micah desu. I can kind of put a little bit more emphasis on it instead of watashi wa. Not to mention, it's just it goes back to Double O Gundam. Ore wa Gundam da! Like, you know. So. But yeah. Love the two maids. One has the oh things suck but it's better than nothing. The other one's like, burn it all down! Exactly. But yeah. That's my thoughts with it. It just sounds cool. You know. In fact, another anime that does that with like gratuitous Spanish is Bleach. Because it just sounds cool. Hueco Mundo. Or Hueco Mundo. Stuff like that. I think the character of Chad is like, he's like half Mexican, half Japanese, isn't he? It's been a while since I've watched it. I'm not the biggest Bleach fan. Too much filler. But anyway. So they try to escape from the brothel. Fire gets started to distract the guards. And then Machu gets to the Gundam, but Lala is not able to get out. She elects to stay behind. And effectively what happens is Machu manages to find the GQuuuuuux and then senses Lala again, even though she's like a good distance away from her. And there's a shadow behind where the GQuuuuuux is sitting. It's like buried in the sand under the ocean. And, but the imagery that we see when it flashes in front of us when she starts new typing is Lala from the original timeline. And it's like, what? And then, but she gets her Gundam back. It surfaces. Zeon's waiting for her when she does. And what they pull out of the ocean, the Rose of Sharon, is the Elmeth, the original Elmeth from the original show. And Lala Soon is somehow still alive. Which doesn't really make sense. She got vaporized. She's been dead for ages. So I'm kind of confused by this, because this is kind of a retcon. But they find the GQuuuuuux, they find the Elmeth. Lala is still alive in it, and I'm confused. That's how how it ended. I'm a little disappointed. Honestly, I hate to say it. I'm a little disappointed. I'm disappointed just in the idea of this this whatchamacallit, this version of, or what the Rose of Sharon. It makes sense for the Rose of Sharon to be Lala in the sense of it's a biblical reference to Solomon's beloved in Song of Songs. So it kind of makes sense with that. But at the same time, Lala has existed as a spirit in the main Universal Century this whole fucking time. Like, we see her all the way up to Unicorn, you know? So I'm kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Now, I'm not going to condemn it. I want to see how this plays out. I was a little disappointed because I was actually kind of hoping that it was because the rose was shown as being a green glow. Now, the original Elmeth is green, but so is Psycho Frame. So I saw that and I went, oh, interesting. Because it was just like this green ball floating in space. I'm like, the last time we saw a green ball floating in space, it was the new Gundam. Before it disappeared. So my thought is that somehow the souls of Amuro, Lala, and Char went through time and went to a different universe, effectively. But no, it's just Lala. So that was a little underwhelming. But not like, I'm not super disappointed with it. I'm intrigued. I'm curious where they're gonna go with it. I've kind of felt like this show has kind of sat on a razor's edge for a good chunk of it, where there is there's this interesting, how do I put this? They sit on this balance of, if they tip one way, the show's going to suck. If they tip the other way, the show's going to be brilliant. And I feel like they're still riding that edge. CCHR's in this, and not that we've seen. I thought he was going to be, but we have not seen that. Now, something could change. You know, we don't know yet. So, but regardless, like, we saw Lala. Now, to be fair, she could just be dead. And her spirit is, like, stuck in the machine. Like, stuck in the Psycom. You know? That's a possibility, too. In which case, if the soul is still be able to go beyond time, it would also make sense as to why she could still influence the normal Universal Century as well. It's just interesting that she's here, too. So, don't know if anyone mentions this. I think Rose Lala is a different Lala than 0079. It's possible. It's definitely possible. It's definitely, seeing that was definitely a big question mark, right? You're looking at it and you're going, okay, where are we going with this? So yeah, I don't know. I really don't know where they're going with it. The next episode preview showed them going back to space. But it looks like we're kicking it off into the Charverse. I know, right? But we're kicking it off. We're kicking off the Civil War. We saw Caecilia. We saw Giran. It looks like we're kicking off the war. And it's looking like there's a like we're gonna finally get into the big conflict, or at least get it started. So by and large, it's not a bad episode. It's just very, very confusing to me. I'll put Lala there. Like, I'm not quite sure how to feel about it. There we go. Because I don't think it's a bad episode. I think it was a really intriguing episode. But intrigue can only take you so far. And I honestly feel like the show kind of really leans on intrigue a little too much sometimes. But then again, that could just be me. When Lala was talking to Machu, she said how the white mobile suit was the one to kill Char. Was she talking about the new Gundam? That's how I thought of it. Is that she could be talking about one of two things. She could be talking about watching Char and Amuro die in Char's counterattack, or she could have been talking about saving Char from his death in 0079, because that's how she died. Is she saved Char from getting killed. So GQuuuuuux, Lala also mentions dreaming of Char during the 1 Year War, so she might be the Lala from the universe where Amuro got the Alex. That's a possibility too. There's a lot of interesting stuff. It is just kind of weird that we're kind of going multiverse with this. I was not expecting it. I was kind of hoping that what ended up happening was like there was some sort of like new type experiment on Amuro, and he's the one who ended up going beyond the time, and then he found Char in space, and that's what created the Zeknova. But I don't know, man. I'm intrigued by it. And the reason I say that is because we did see the guy who developed the Alex Gundam in the show. He's the guy who was working on those Gelgoogs. So it makes me wonder. Well, I said a lot of things that either coincide or divert from the UC chronology of events. So, yeah, it could be one thing or it could be a lot of things. We don't know yet. I'm curious to find out. And yeah, that's a good point, Stitches. It's curious whether or not Amuro is going to get involved at all. How does this tie back to Turn A? Everything ends in Turn A. The Moonlight Butterfly is the inevitability for all technology. Everything becomes Turn A at some point. At some point, the Turn A shows up and wipes the slate clean, and then they start all over. Every single Gundam... That's the way I took it, is that every single Gundam universe ends with Turn A. Turn A is literally the end of Gundam. So yeah. It's curious. I'm curious as to see how it goes. This is only a 12-episode series. I don't know if the full series is only 12 episodes or if they're waiting to renew for a second season or what have you. It could end up just being 12. They haven't said anything about season 2. I'm hoping there's a season 2. Somebody asked about who the writers were. Hideaki Anno, the creator of Neon Genesis Evangelion, is one of the writers. I don't remember who the other one is. But the guy who directed Fooly Cooly is the one who's directing it. Yeah, Original. I'm kind of on boat with you. I have a feeling they're going to do a second season. At the least, because this is a very good show. Like overall, it's a lot better than GWitch was. Need to stop with 12 episodes for especially for Gundam. I completely agree. Completely agree. Theory is weird. New type magic pulled the Elmeth before it could save Char, which is why she sees him die. That's a possibility. That's also part of the reason why I think GQuuuuuux actually was gonna stand for GQuuuuuux, and that Machu is Haman, is because the Elmeth being canceled means that everything of that production line would be canceled, and guess what? The Quuuuuuux is part of the production line of the Elmeth. A lot of people don't know this. I'm going to talk about it in part 4 of Zeta. But yeah, like one thing that people don't understand is like the Elmeth was step 1 in trying to make bit technology and new type weaponry a lot more accessible. But if you have the Gundams instead, then and the Gundam was the testing ground for bit technology instead, well, a Quuuuuuux would not pull from the Elmeth. It would pull from a Gundam. So yeah, Quuuuuuux is an Elmeth descendant. The Quuuuuuux was the original, and then from that they fastened bit carriers onto Rickdoms. And I forget the name of those because it's been a minute since I did the video on them. But they used a couple of those and Axis to test for mobile suits and to miniaturize bit technology and to properly tune the psycho frame so that you could use them and not override or like fry your brain and still pilot a mobile suit and have them be tenable weapons. And the Quuuuuuux was the end result of it. And then it got mass produced, not in huge numbers, but yeah. Some dude was already trying to push the political aspect of GQuuuuuux before this episode. The video is now worthless since he's diving deeper than just politics at this point. Yeah, dude, the video essayists are going to fucking hate this series. Because video essayists ate up GWitch for several different reasons. And, because a lot of video essayists are just shippers that know a bunch of $3 words. So, excuse me. But yeah. Then the Queen Mantha is the descendant after that, right? Yes. And then after that is the Kshatriya. And I think the Kshatriya was the last of that line. Because the Kshatriya, because basically what the Queen Mantha is basically just a Quuuuuuux on steroids. And then the Kshatriya is the Quuuuuuux on steroids and then miniaturized. So the Kshatriya is kind of like the last of the line, because they never really made a mobile suit like that ever again. Haman family here is likely isn't so lucky since Giran and Kycilia are still around. Main way of surviving the Zabi family bullshit is they ended up protecting the last Zabi heir left. True. I'm of the opinion that what happened was after Dozel died, they went into hiding and changed their names, and that's how they ended up inside 6. Love how the show completely torpedoes all Xeon apologist statement that Space Nodes would be better off if Xeon won. Oh, I love it. I'm all for it, dude. Not that I'm a Federation guy. If I have to pick one, I'll pick the lesser evil. Ugh. So. Oh, that was a pretty good neck pop. Man, I am tired, though. So. I think we've really kind of said all there is to say about this particular topic. Let's get Lala out of here. Question for you guys. Or actually, let me just go over this real quick. So one thing I was talking about earlier is that we're going to be pushing memberships, kind of mentioning it a bit more. What you get right now, if you're a member, is that you get early access to videos. We usually publish them like, if the video is done like on a Monday, we'll publish it on a Friday, and then vice versa. Like, if it's published on a Friday, we'll put it out on, you'll have access until Monday. Well, it's basically 5 days of exclusivity. Plus, you get access to my Discord server. One thing that we're going to be doing is if we get up to 70 people that are, in at the $5 or more on Patreon, or just a flat out member here, because the minimum membership on YouTube is $5. If we get to double where we're at now, which would be about 70 people total, then what we're going to do is Shirt Dude and I are going to start a weekly podcast discussing lore. And the people that are in at the $10 tier or more will be suggesting topics. And then what we will do is that we will actually have a poll of the members every week of stuff, or every month, to discuss what we're going to go over. Because what we'll do is we'll take the options that are available and we'll either put it in a members only post, or we'll put it in the Discord server to have people vote on what we discuss, and then whatever the top 4 is, we'll pick those, and then we'll go week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So, and then on top of that, this podcast would be members exclusive for 6 months. Yeah. So, that is what I am right now pushing towards. I'll be mentioning it a bit more in videos, because admittedly, like, I haven't pushed the whole like, share, subscribe thing very much. I should probably mention it more. I imagine my sub count would go up even faster than it already is, because I get anywhere from 500 to 1,000 a month, which at the rate that we're at, we'll be at where I'd like to be in a couple of years. But I'd like to be there faster, So that's the reason I'm gonna push a little bit harder in regards to, because I'm really wanting to make this a thing, because I'm really having a lot of fun with it. So how do you do that? Because I've been following you for a year and a half. So on the YouTube page, to become a member. Give me just a second. So, sorry about the echo there. So on my page here, we can see my ugly face. Right here is a button that says join. And there's 2 options. Zealot and Crusader. And you get loyalty badges, you get emotes. The more members we get, the more emotes I can throw in there. Right now we got some Berserk stuff. We got the Gorilla thumbs up. We got Shame the Hat Man. And I'll add more as we go along. So yeah, that's how you join. That is how you become a channel member. Thanks for stopping by, Kai. I appreciate you, buddy. But anyway, so that's something to consider. We're going to try to push for it, try to get there. Second thing, since you guys made it happen, I want to show you guys a preview of something. This is a preview of the Freren review that you guys have bribed me to do. So I'm going to shut up and let this play. Okay, this is a good start. Here's the thing, Elf. I've seen Guts from Berserk kill a demonic sea god. The Doomslayer kill the Icon of Sin more than once. Then we've got the Primarch Vulcan beating the ever-loving shit out of his demonic brother Magnus with a Home Depot's worth of hammers. Spawn went to hell, killed Malbolgia. Dante killed Mundus, and I've seen others kill other powerful demons. So, either better kill somebody really big, or show me you got some style. What do you got?
Ara, kill yourself. How could I ever?
Okay, that's a really good one. Yeah. Yeah. Which community got you to do Freren? You guys did. This community, this channel's community, made that the donation goal of the month, and you guys hit it. So, I immediately went and watched it. Is that cherry Pepsi or regular? Just regular. I mostly just drink regular. So yeah, that is the opening of the Freren review. It's just flat out Freren being like, all right, I got style. I'm gonna have this person low tier god themselves. So yeah, it's I think it's gonna be a pretty good review. I get to make fun of elves. I get to talk about why I get to talk about like how much I liked it, and then of course the ending of the video. How many of you guys enjoyed the video where I trashed anime video essays? How many of you guys enjoyed that? I'm curious to know. Something to watch it, good vid. So not a whole lot. That's okay. So, at the end of the Freren thing, here, I'll show you what I mean. Like the anime video essay video, is people are. This one here. It's the one where I, where is it at? where we make fun of Anthony Hergermerkel. So it's this one. So yeah, that one is now some people have actually said to me, you need to look at the infamous video essay about Frerin. And I'm like, which one is that? So Shirt Dude told me about where's the original? There it is. Told me about this. From this goof. Who, by the way, I know he looks like he could be my younger brother. He's not. I don't have any brothers, I promise you. But at the end of the video about Frerin, I actually tear this apart. So for those of you who enjoyed me ripping apart video essays, the third section of that review is me ripping that apart because his arguments are terrible because he completely leaves out context. That guy, your Down syndrome cousin? No, he's not related. He's Canadian. Nobody in my family is Canadian. None of us have that defect. Apologies to anybody that's Canadian. Oh gosh, I am so tired. Dr. J Unscripted tore into that video. Yeah, I actually watched his video to make sure I wasn't going to tread the same ground. My whole thing is I take, do I have any sisters? If you count my stepsisters, I have 4. If you don't count my stepsisters, I have 2. But, get some coffee. I don't drink coffee. I hate coffee. I hate bitter things. But yeah, it's a God. This is one of those things where I just thought it would be fun to do. Because I was talking to Shirt Dude while I was watching the show, and I'm like, what's the big deal about this? And he kind of goes into this thing is like, dude he's kind of at that spot where he can't comprehend breakfast. And I'm like, well, let me listen to what he said. So I listened to it, and like part of his argument is like he completely leaves out the context of demons in the first season of it, and he just goes to manga spoilers. I'm like, well, you didn't really need to go there. And then the second thing I talk about is actually how his argument makes things worse. Because he argues that, because the demons are conscious to a degree, I guess, that they are people and it's wrong to kill them. And it's like, well, no, like, now you're arguing that they have a concept of what evil is, and they know that it's bad and they do it anyway. That's fucking worse. Because you're not dealing with an animal at that point. If it's just their nature, they just kill. That's the scorpion and the frog, right? Anybody who tries to trust a demon, that trusts a demon and gets killed and eaten by them, it's scorpion and the frog. You got stung. It is what it is. It's in their nature. If they're conscious of it, you're not dealing with the scorpion anymore. You're dealing with Hitler or Stalin or Pol Pot or Mao. Like you're dealing with that, which is way worse. Because not only are they conscious of it, they're conscious that what they're doing is wrong and they don't give a fuck. So yeah. Yeah. They speak to lure prey, like what Farron said. Yeah. I actually make a comparison that there are actually predators in real life that do that. They don't speak, but they have other like camouflage and stuff like that they use to lure prey in. It's just that basically is the way it's presented. But yeah, overall, like, I really enjoyed the show. I love this. I love the orchestral score. The animation is really solid. It's done by Madhouse, and it's the best thing that Madhouse has done in a very long time. So I'm pretty stoked to see more, because I know that another season comes out. It's either late this year or early next year. Yeah, the last big notable thing I could think that I watched of Madhouse's was the first season of One Punch Man. But then again, this is also they did Trigun, for fuck's sake, you know. They did Trigun. They did fucking Black Lagoon. Yes, Ronin, exactly. That's what I'm referencing. But yeah, I'm not going to go into too many more details on that. I want you guys to watch the review. But it is very enjoyable, to say the least. I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah. Pretty good stuff. Well, guys, I am exhausted. So I'm going to go ahead and take off. It was nice seeing everybody, obviously. Consider becoming a member so we can get that podcast going. I'll start putting a member goal down here to let people know. And if you can't use YouTube memberships, Patreon is also an option as well. Just remember, get in at the $5 tier or higher, because those are the ones that count towards the goal. So I'm going to go take a nap. And then One Punch Man, that did do a second season. Yeah, but it was a different company that did it. It wasn't Madhouse. But yeah, I'm going to go rest, or at least try to sleep, because it is really warm today. So, but I'm going to try to get some rest and stuff. So everybody have yourselves a good one. I'm hoping to be back on Thursday to do some Gunpla shit. But right now I just need some sleep because I'm fucking exhausted. So, appreciate all you guys for coming hanging out. I will see you guys next time.